Tonight, Christina Carswell hosts an all-new episode of The Lounge. The following program may contain mature material some viewers may not find suitable. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's The Lounge with Christina Carswell. Tonight, Christina welcomes Alex, also known as Axel, from the channel Swathed, Sarah from the channel Lyra Kylaren, and Sean, a professional QA video game tester. And now, here's your host, Christina Carswell.
Sup guys, welcome back to The Lounge with myself, Sean, and Axel. Hey. So there's something that we desperately need to talk about because it came out while other things were happening with us. Pokemon.
Is it the lack of Sarah's presence?
Well, other than that, she's off doing Sarah things at the moment, but Pokemon came out, guys!
Yay!
Pokemon Go in all of its glory! In all of its floppiness!
That thing that I can't play because my phone's not supported. Why?
Yeah, a lot of fucking problems with this shit. By the way, at the end of the episode, we're going to talk about the contest that we were having and what's going to go on with it, because words and things. Yes, I am an adult. I do adulting things.
Adulting things?
Adulting things.
That involves wording, right? Yeah.
Yes, all about the wordings.
I have a love-hate relationship with Pokemon Go.
Yeah? Tell us about it.
I love to hate it, and I love that I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
Because it's broken, it's glitchy as fuck, there's nothing to do. The only Pokemon within a 3 to 5 kilometer walk radius, not fucking like, oh, I walk half a kilometer, like 3 kilometer radius of my house is nothing but Pidgeys, Weedles, Venonats, and Jinxes. I mean, I have an amazing Beedrill and a pretty bitchin' Jinx, but
not even Rattata?
There's not even Pokestops. No, Weedles and Caterpie are more here than anything.
Wow.
There's not enough Pokestops near my area, so I'm always running out of Pokeballs. So I can't catch anything, so I've stagnated in level. For me, the fucking tracker system never even worked in the first place. Everyone had 3 footsteps.
But you didn't?
Since I started playing the game, they never fucking worked.
That's fucking weird.
Actually, never worked to begin with, actually.
Every single goddamn egg except for one, and I have hatched maybe about 12 to 15 eggs now. Every single egg that I've hatched is a Zubat, except for one, which was an Electabuzz.
No, Electabuzz isn't that bad, but really? Zubats?
It's all Zubats.
Are they all 2s? If it's 2s, 5s, and 10s, holy fuck.
Well, there's only... The 10k egg is the biggest egg.
Yeah, 10k is... But if you get a Zubat from a 10k, that's a little messed up.
Well, I haven't... The Electabuzz was my 10k egg.
Okay, that's not
but my 5k eggs have all been... My 2 5k eggs have all been Zubats, and all of my 2k eggs have been Zubats.
Wow.
So, I see people playing the game and having so much fun with it. I'm like, gee, I wish I could have fun like that.
Yeah.
But
have you gone out with people to take gyms or not?
Have you tried going downtown?
I've gone downtown and there's been a bunch of stuff, but the GPS doesn't fucking work properly. So every time I go to fucking spin a Pokestop, suddenly it's you're too far, and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm standing on top of it.
What carrier are you with?
Fido.
Okay, so I'm having this same issue because I'm also with Fido.
Which is off the Rogers network.
Yeah, but I've had friends with Wind or with Bell or Rogers even, and they're fucking fine. Anyone in a brand name provider is absolutely fine for their GPS. But anyone with our kind of provider...
Well, Fido's just a subsidiary of Rogers.
Yeah, but it's a discount version, so they don't get the premium service.
The GPS is also more to the device, isn't it?
Yeah. No.
It also, it depends on your signal and shit like that.
No, GPS isn't based on your satellite, like your cell reception, because GPS goes to a GPS satellite. But the problem there lies in is that it has to go to a GPS satellite, locate your position via GPS, then send that data to Niantic servers, then Niantic has to fire back. So if you're like me and a very fast-paced walker, yeah, people are like, oh, just slow down and walk. It's like, no, when I go for my late night, 5K walks, like, I do it a little quicker, but it's like, I find like half the time it's always constantly updating the GPS to the point of I go to catch a Pokemon and I'm already outside the range.
Yeah, no, I've had that happen to me too.
So I was the exact prime target of Pokemon, and I mean we had our Pokemon episode, and we like people who watched this.
So hyped.
Well, the people who watch the lounge know by now my opinion of Pokemon. Like, I have nothing bad to say about Pokemon the series. Pokemon Go is just this weird mixed up thing that I don't fully understand, but at the same time, I can't use to its fullest potential. Mm-hmm. Because either I'm limited by my hardware on my phone, or I'm limited by my cell reception. So I haven't cared about it. I don't hate it. Like, that was a hyperbole. That was...
Yeah, but it's also like a piggyback off of what was the game? Ingress, yeah. It's a piggyback off of that because they're using the exact same like stop locations.
No, because Niantic also has a thing where Ingress you could anybody could pinpoint a portal. Yeah. Right? Like you could put a portal like if enough people said, like, oh, this is a landmark, this should have a portal type thing, they would add it. Niantic allowed businesses to just be like, oh, well, you know, if you want your store to... Yeah, well, it's a Pokestop, right? Yeah. And there are also forms that you can fill out to get your, you know, Pokestop removed. But a large, like, fairly majority portion of the Pokestops were Ingress portals. Mm-hmm. But you could add so many more. And then when I think gyms were basically portals, and Pokestops you could add based on you go to Niantic's website and you fill out a form.
Yeah, but basically the gyms were the more popular portals in Ingress. That's what I read.
Yeah.
But yeah, so piggybacking off a previous game, obviously has a little bit of issues.
Oh, it's the same company.
It's the same company. It's the same company. It's like they have a database. Why not use it? I understand. Like it knocks down like some of their production costs.
Funny. Yeah, well, yeah, it does. But so like, funny enough, I found it like people like Pokemon Go is now officially the most viral anything ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. Like, it beat out fucking Candy Crush. It beat out Numa Numa. It beat out internet memes. And
for a little while.
It still is. Like, I think, like...
Well, it's dying down.
No, it really hasn't, because now there's YouTubers that are now taking a GoPro and creating vlogs while playing Pokemon Go.
Okay.
There's people who there's people who now have workout regimens based on Pokemon Go. There's like device makers that make these, like, yeah, you could make it with like a coat hanger yourself, but you know, there's people who make bike mounts for phones for Pokemon Go with a little track on it so that you can bike, slide your finger without having to aim a Pokeball. So,
oh, yeah, I've seen that, the fucking phone case.
Yeah, well, there's a phone case, and now people integrated the phone case into a bike mount.
That's crazy.
You know, because people do biking routines, because to catch the really rare Pokemon, you have to go like a fair distance away from your main point of origin. So, you know,
most people, yeah.
Biking is the most efficient way because it tracks when you're going too fast, and then it doesn't let you catch anything because it assumes you're driving. Until you say, I'm a passenger, which then the GPS data, you're still moving too fast for it to update. Yeah. So, you know, it's just like, to me, I see a lot of American people having a great time with it, and I have a bunch of Canadian friends who have had fun with it, but they also live in the diehard center of Toronto.
Yeah, no, if you don't live near anything, then it's really tough. Like,
It's boring.
my old place, like, literally, I had, like, maybe 2 Pokestops near me, and I still had to walk, like, 5 to 10 minutes to get to them.
Yeah, and then even then, you're getting maybe 2 Pokeballs, and then
2, 3, maybe.
yeah. So
Maybe.
okay, so even if you land every Pokemon, like even if you catch them all the time on the first ball, you can catch a maximum of 4 Pokemon going to those 2 Pokestops. You know,
Or you can sit there and refresh, and
or you could
wait there
spend
for
money and
something.
get like 1,000,000 Pokeball.
Yeah, no thanks.
Which is stupid because I don't believe in spending money on that kind of shit. So I'm one of those like I will work for it kind of gamers, but at the same time I'm realizing that the work is too much for the reward.
Alright, so I want to delve a little bit into what Niantic promised. So, trading, battling. Well, other than battling gyms, you can't battle trainers, you can't trade with trainers, and like that was like one of the selling points that they said that they would be putting in, and we have yet to see it.
Well, that'll remain to see if they deliver on it. Then whatever, maybe just by the time they wanted to push it out, because like honestly, it was a perfect time. It was right before the summer. You know, people could
Get people out, get people walking.
Well, people could get used to it before the summer weather, where more people could, you know, it's like, yeah, the southern hemisphere is closer to winter, but, you know, it's just, for the northern hemisphere, which has most of Europe, you know, and North America, that, well, it has all of Europe, most of Africa too. So there's a larger portion of people. So if they deliver on those promises on like, oh yeah, you could battle random NPC trainers, you can battle other trainers, you can battle. Now they're just making Pokemon the game.
Yeah,
Like
that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted to begin with.
But I'm one of those people in the camp that I never wanted a game like this. Like, yeah, it's a cool novel concept. But I was always a fan of the little story inside the game and what you made of the world it created. I didn't care about the real world playing Pokemon. I wanted to dive.
So
That's why I'm more excited for Sun and Moon than I was for Pokemon Go ever.
Abstract that out a little bit though, right? Think about it. Now the little story in the game is the big story out here. It's ease of accessibility to your Pokemon to have random Pokemon battles, right?
I'm
fun in the fights, you know.
But
That kind of stuff.
I'm an escapist gamer. I like to use games as an escape from reality. I don't want games fucking like people are like, oh, these games are so realistic. It's like, okay, well, there's many ways to describe realistic, but at the same time, you know, the reason I don't get diehard into like Call of Duty anymore or those like World War II kind of, well, I love World War II shooters, but like modern day combat shooters kind of bored me because I'm like, all right, we're in some nondescript either Russian or Middle Eastern village shooting terrorists.
Okay, so cutting the chase, the point is that you're not one of those kind of kids who would have been seen with the link cable between 2 Game Boys, right? You don't like the competitive scene.
But I do. I like the competitive scene of like Pokemon battles, but I mean like.
But that's what I'm getting at is that
what I'm saying is
basically take the game away and you've got the competitive scene, right?
I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of curious.
What I'm saying is I just personally am not one of those people in that camp that was just like I need Pokemon everywhere in my life ever, like to pervade. Where I'm standing is look, there's a Pikachu. It's like no, I don't really care for that. I mean, because I'm also just one of those people with technology, period, where like I have a smartphone, I use a smartphone for smartphone things. I generally don't play on my phone because holy shit, Pokemon Go eats your battery.
All right.
It just eats your
What,
battery.
So I'm going to interrupt Sean Cast for a moment here. What I'm taking a look at here is I'm wondering, so this promise of like trying to get into the battle and the trading aspects. Trading, not such a big deal. I mean, there might be those kids who typically go, oh, they didn't give me what I wanted. I'm not exactly sure if that's even something that could be exploited, but we'll see. Battle, though, the thing I'm kind of curious about is, take a look at a lot of the competitive games that are out there right now. They end up having tournaments where there's like a hyper focus of like how the game mechanics end up being exploited, how people find these metas, how like take a look at Here's the Storm, Overwatch, TF2,
Yep.
Dota, so on and so forth, right? All this talk about meta, right? And then of course the game designers take all that time looking at going, okay, we're going to make a few tweaks and everything else and keep looking at how that's going to affect the competitive scene. I'm wondering if Niantic has a head for that.
Probably
I'm not sure.
Time, the most you can get out of competitiveness for Ingress was furiously tapping on a screen.
Well, not just that, it's like coordinating with other people to create your triangles, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it took a lot of effort and a lot of organization between multiple people to be able to accomplish large goals.
Yeah.
But
Pokemon,
like
I can
single
walk
battle, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see what you're looking at is you're looking at this as in terms of a game, like a video game.
Yeah.
This is a mobile app.
Yeah.
This isn't, I don't consider Pokemon Go a game at all. It's literally, I walk to a certain location in the world. Hey, look, a Pikachu. I'm going to flick a ball at it.
That's
Okay,
right. Now, if they
I caught it. Now it sits in my... No. Well, one sec. I'm going to get to my point.
All right.
Now, introduce the concept of battles. Okay, that piques my interest because, yeah, I'll fight with my roommate. I'll fight with my friends. I'm like, hey, fight me, faggot. Like,
Pokemon battle.
there's going to be a
Slice
lot
of
more...
pizza. I'll fight you.
Yeah, so it's just like... It's just like, okay, I could see where humorous applications of a battle system...
Whoever wins does dishes.
Exactly. Like either that or like, friendly competitions of going to a coffee shop and like Trainer Man 62 fighting you in a battle. And it's just like you look around the coffee shop and there's that asshole with Ash Ketchum's hat and you're like, I know it's you, motherfucker. And then you get into these like standoffs in like the line at Walmart or something. That'd be hilarious. But I would never see any sort of competitive scene because the problem with right now, and if they implemented a battle system, and the difference between Pokemon Go and the real Pokemon games is that you start getting IVs, EVs, defense stats, like all these other stats that like the diehard, like Smogon, competitive league Pokemon players play that are like farming. Tier lists are always constantly changing.
Yeah.
It's like when you start talking about metas and stuff like that in competitive games, it's when the meta stagnates that the game gets boring. That's why League of Legends is always trying to come up with new shit. That's why Blizzard is so hyper-focused on Overwatch and trying to fight stale metas. That's why it took forever for McCree to get nerfed. But then he got nerfed, and then all of a sudden the meta started changing a lot because also Zenyatta got a buff, and everyone was like, he needs a buff because he's kind of weak, but if he just got a tiny buff, he'd be really good. And then he was a tiny buff, and they're like, shit, now we always have to play him with a Lucio, so now that kind of limits the choice of how many characters you can have on a team. So then Blizzard was like, okay, we're going to nerf Zenyatta, and everyone's like, all right, this will balance him out. Now he'll be okay.
Long story short, balancing issues.
Yeah,
Balancing
that's the kind of point that I was getting at, though, is that there's all that going on.
But I don't see that happening with Pokemon Go because I don't consider it. It's not. It wouldn't be a diehard competitive game.
Yeah. So in a way, you've kind of like validated my concern here.
Yeah. See, like because I don't consider it a full game. It's just a mobile app.
In defense, each Pokemon has a different moveset. Okay, each Pokemon has a different moveset, and not every Pokemon, like let's say you catch like 2 Pikachus, not each Pikachu is going to have the exact same moveset. Sometimes they differ. Obviously, some do more, some do less, some do different types. Like,
well, here's also
I can see where it could become competitive, but at that point, it's just cherry picking.
Well, here's the application problem and where I stem from video games versus the real world type thing. And that's in the Pokemon games, I can walk to Route 6 and walk in a bush, and I know in this area there are 6 Pokemon that spawn in this area, right? And I can sit there, and maybe that Pikachu is really elusive, but, or that, certain Pokemon I'm trying to catch is very elusive, but I know that in the game I can only catch him here, so that I'm just going to circle around this area. With Pokemon Go, random Pokemon spawn in random places. Yes, there are areas where certain ones are more likely to spawn, but if I can't physically go there, I can't catch that Pokemon. Or I have a very rare chance of hatching it in an egg. Here's where the meta and competitive play start to clash with that. To clash with that, because if a certain meta says, I need a Gengar in my team, and I can't get anywhere that has any Ghastly even to even try and farm the 150 needed fucking candies, which equates to like, I think that's what, 30? No, that's 50 candies. No, you get.
That's another.
Anyways, so if there's a meta that says you need a Gengar in your team because Gengar has a certain move that basically crushes everybody, then I need a Gengar. And if I can't physically catch a Gengar, now I'm suddenly out of touch.
That's where trading would come in, where it would be able to make that easy.
But trading would be negated by the fact that if the meta stated that I needed a Gengar in my team, no one would trade Gengar.
Unless you had a really good counter offer.
Well, it goes back to like when people like. I was one of those kids who actually played Pokemon the actual card game than just trading the cards. So when I played the game, there were certain cards on like the fucking playground that kids had that were like, I don't like it because I don't like Pidgeot. And I'm like, well, Pidgeot's a fucking amazing card. Like, also, I like Pidgeot, so it's just like, fucking give me that, and sure, I gave away my... I
can see your point. I can see your point. I'm
saying that Pokemon Go is that weird enigma that I would never see it become competent, even if they... Or competitive... Competitive if they implemented a battle system.
I've never seen a mobile game go competitive to begin with, so that expectation isn't really up there for Pokemon Go.
Because most people playing Pokemon Go is a genius idea because everyone basically has a cell phone these days.
Yeah.
It's a substitute.
Everyone has a smartphone these days.
You pretty much have to.
Yeah.
No,
but yes, Alex.
Just to step in here, just thinking about saying, well, no, it's not possible for it to create other interesting things. One of the big flavors with Pokemon was how you'd have all these different themed towns, like how the gyms would be, you'd have Pewter City, it was all rock, you had like just some theme to the teams, right? So I kind of look at this and go, okay, what kind of social engineering could you do with this game that could try to encourage people to follow a similar pattern?
It seems like every major city is a fucking drowsy haven.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay.
They just have certain Pokemon spawn in depending on how densely populated the area is.
Well, the acquisition of the Pokemon would largely affect it, and unfortunately that's not working here. The only other thing I think of is how else could you reward people?
I just thought of another point of why it wouldn't work.
Okay.
Training and leveling is random. It's a randomly assigned value. Sometimes you click power up your Pokemon, and it goes, it gained 32, and then you do it again, and it gained 19.
They have a maximum. They have a set maximum.
Well, their maximum CP is based on your level. Just like in the game, how you couldn't train certain Pokemon over a certain level if you didn't have a certain badge.
Yeah.
So, there's a certain
Pokemon
CP
do have a level. It's just not shown.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that when you press power up, but certain Pokemon that don't have evolutions, right, is what I'm talking about. Like Electabuzz. Electabuzz, when you hatch it from an egg, it just gives you 30 candy because it's like, well, you're not here's 30 to level it, right? You need all the Stardust.
It's not always 30, but it depends.
Okay. I understand 30, even with my Zubats. That's how I got a gold
Mine's differed.
Anyways, when you hit power up, sometimes it brings the CP up by like 30, sometimes it brings it up by like 20. But if someone who then has RNG in their favor and always gets the maximum value of the possible power up, that would change the stats against someone who could possibly do the same thing.
Okay.
So, it would cause a power vacuum in a competitive scene.
Yeah, I understand. But all Pokemon have a max and can't go past that max. So eventually you hit a brick wall.
Fair enough, that too.
So eventually everyone's going to be at the same stage.
But where it applies to the real world is that I might not have enough time to do that. Or I might not have enough access to resources as someone who says lives in downtown Metropolis, who has access to one single square block that has 30 Pokestops on it, catches any single Pokemon that shows up in a 2-second radius, or like a 2 kilometer, 2 mile radius.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I got some of my friends who do not live within the city and they live out on the outskirts.
In the boonies, yeah.
By far out-leveled them. Just because I pass by 10 to 20 Pokestops just on my way to work.
Yeah, and to me,
difference.
The closest one within a 5 minute walk is one Pokestop. Because I live in suburbia and there's no actual Pokestops. I could walk to the college campus that's just down the road and there's 6 Pokestops. But because I have to wait 5 minutes between each one, I have to basically do just laps of campus to try and get as many Pokeballs. Yeah. But I don't have enough time to do that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Also, security also asks me a shit ton of questions. Why
are you walking?
I have talked to campus security so many times because I like to do my Pokemon going at 3 in the morning.
Oh, Sean.
So it just looks like a guy walking around doing laps around campus with his phone.
You're probably in a hoodie too, and they're just like, "Who the fuck is that?"
T-shirt and shorts.
Okay. Well, close enough. It's campus. There's always people like that there. Anyways, so we're gonna stop the conversation about Pokemon here. We got into most of it. We didn't even talk about them banning third-party apps at all. But
I don't care about that. Honestly, they're in their full right to do that.
No, that's fair.
People are just complaining that and that goes back to my point about how people want to catch a certain Pokemon, but they can't because I can't get a goddamn Farfetch'd unless I go to fucking Asia.
Holy fuck.
So it's my favorite Pokemon in the goddamn entire series of Pokemon.
I totally forgot Farfetch'd existed.
I can't catch him because I have to buy a plane ticket to fucking Asia.
This is why trading should be a thing.
Asia.
But even then, you can't catch Farfetch'd in North America unless you're super lucky and hatch him from an egg. So unless I know someone who has been to Asia since Pokemon Go came out and played it in Asia...
So supposedly someone down in the States got all 150, so...
He caught everything that you could catch except for legendaries and the region-locked ones.
Oh, okay. Well, that's different. I heard something completely different.
The article was false. The article was false. But there also is a guy now there's a guy who has all of them because he has the money, quit his job, and flew everywhere.
Well, what a dick.
Well, no, it's just whatever. People live their lives, right? But
that's
at the same time,
he can do whatever the fuck he wants with his money.
At the same time, I have no drive to collect all 151. I just want a goddamn Farfetch'd.
I see why you're angry now. It's all because of a Farfetch'd. Okay, so
I need my duck beating people with a leak. Thank you.
Yes, I understand. If I find one, I'll let you know. So we did have a bet. And as you've noticed over several videos, we've had a little swear counter up in the right doobly-doo. And we have tallied everything. And Sean, so sorry, but you had the highest number, so you technically lost. Alex, you had the lowest number.
How did I lose when I had the most? America! It's America, damn it! I have the most. I have the best words.
Exactly. That means you get extra stuff, and that extra stuff is going to be a challenge that Alex chooses for you.
It's a highly flawed system.
May Alex have mercy on your soul.
Whatever.
You may call me God.
Okay, maybe not that far. Whoa, bro. Whoa, bro.
Jeez, way to get way too big for your britches there, man.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll work
Bring it
something
on,
out.
Sword.
We'll work something out. Anyways, so pay attention to future videos and hopefully enjoy what's coming. So that's all the time we got for today. Be sure to follow us on social media at TOONDISE on Facebook and with the hashtag ToonLounge on Twitter. And if you're a fan of TOONDISE, make sure to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/ToonDice. And on behalf of Sean, Axel, and myself, Christina, with some faraway love from Sarah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the lounge.